Many of us have faced moments where we've given our hearts to someone only to find ourselves trapped in emotional turmoil. The question is, how do you regain control? How do you detach yourself from someone who is holding you back emotionally? This isn't about becoming indifferent. It's about liberating your mind, heart, and soul from unhealthy attachments. Emotional mastery is the foundation upon which all healthy relationships and personal well-being are built. When you learn how to master your emotions, you reclaim control over a key aspect of your life that directly impacts your mental, physical, and spiritual health. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing or ignoring your feelings, but rather understanding them, processing them, and making deliberate decisions about how to respond to situations. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional reactions that can lead to frustration, anxiety, and sadness when you find yourself entangled with someone who no longer serves your growth. To reclaim emotional mastery, you must first recognize the power emotions have in shaping your thoughts and actions. Many people think they are in control of their emotions, but in reality, they are often driven by feelings of fear, attachment, or insecurity. These emotions can cloud judgment and lead to decisions that are reactive rather than intentional. Emotional mastery starts with awareness, becoming conscious of how you feel and how your emotions influence your behavior, particularly in relationships. In relationships, emotional dependency is common, and often people allow their emotions to be dictated by the actions or opinions of others. When you tie your emotional state to someone else's behavior, you lose your personal power. If they are distant, you feel anxious. If they are affectionate, you feel joyful. This kind of emotional attachment is unstable and unhealthy because your well-being is determined by external factors, ones you cannot always control. Emotional mastery frees you from this dependency, enabling you to stand strong regardless of how others behave or what happens around you. To achieve emotional mastery, it's essential to learn how to create a sense of emotional independence. This doesn't mean detaching from others emotionally or cutting off connections. Instead, it's about developing the ability to maintain your emotional equilibrium even when things don't go as planned. For example, in a relationship where you might feel overly attached to someone, emotional mastery allows you to recognize that while you love or care for them, your happiness and sense of peace do not have to rise and fall based on their presence or absence in your life. This mindset gives you the freedom to interact with others without being ruled by emotional highs and lows. Another key aspect of emotional mastery is understanding your triggers. Triggers are specific situations or behaviors that provoke a strong emotional reaction. In the context of relationships, triggers often arise when expectations are not met or when old wounds are reopened. Emotional mastery involves identifying what triggers you and why. Once you are aware of these triggers, you can prepare yourself mentally to respond in a more composed and deliberate way. Instead of reacting out of anger, jealousy, or fear, you pause, assess the situation, and choose a response that reflects your true values and long-term well-being. An important tool in mastering emotions is self-reflection. Taking time each day to reflect on your emotional experiences helps you become more attuned to how you react in different situations. This practice is crucial when it comes to emotionally detaching from someone who may be holding you back. When you reflect on your emotions, you gain clarity about the relationship and how it affects your mental and emotional health. You might realize that the person you're attached to triggers feelings of insecurity or self-doubt, leading you to behave in ways that don't align with your true self. With this awareness, you can begin to take steps to change the dynamic and regain control over your emotions. In the process of emotional mastery, it's also essential to develop self-compassion. Detaching from someone you care about, even when it's necessary, is often painful. You may experience guilt, sadness, or fear of being alone. But emotional mastery teaches you that these feelings are temporary and you have the strength to overcome them. Instead of allowing these emotions to overwhelm you, self-compassion allows you to acknowledge your feelings without judgment. It's about giving yourself permission to feel sad or hurt while also recognizing that your decision to detach is ultimately for your own well-being and growth. Emotional mastery empowers you to approach relationships with a balanced perspective. When you are no longer controlled by emotional attachments, you can engage with others from a place of wholeness rather than neediness or desperation. This doesn't mean you stop caring for others or building connections. Rather, it means you bring your best self to the relationship without losing yourself in it. When you've mastered your emotions, you can love more fully because your love comes from a place of strength rather than dependency. Emotional mastery is a lifelong journey. It's not a one-time achievement. but a continuous process of growth and self-awareness. There will be moments when emotions get the best of you, and that's okay. The goal is not perfection, but progress. Each time you practice emotional mastery, whether it's through setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness, or simply pausing before reacting, you strengthen your emotional resilience. This resilience is what allows you to detach from unhealthy emotional entanglements and move forward with peace, clarity, and confidence. Emotional mastery is the key to emotional detachment. It gives you the power to reclaim your emotional freedom, allowing you to make decisions that prioritize your well-being without being controlled by attachment to others. Establishing healthy boundaries is a crucial step in emotional detachment, especially when navigating relationships that may drain your energy or lead you away from your purpose. Boundaries are often misunderstood as walls that keep people out, but they are actually the lines that protect your emotional well-being, allowing you to engage with others without losing yourself in the process. When you set boundaries, you define the limits of your emotional and mental space, ensuring that your peace, values, and needs are respected. Boundaries are not just for your protection, but also a way of teaching others how to treat you, guiding relationships toward mutual respect and healthy interaction. One of the most significant challenges people face in setting boundaries is the fear of being perceived as selfish or uncaring. This fear often stems from a belief that placing limits on what you are willing to accept somehow diminishes the love or care you have for the other person. In reality, boundaries do the opposite. They preserve relationships by preventing resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. When you don't set clear boundaries, you may find yourself overgiving, constantly accommodating the other person's needs and neglecting your own. This imbalance can lead to feelings of frustration and overwhelm, causing damage to both yourself and the relationship. By establishing healthy boundaries, you ensure that the relationship remains balanced and sustainable. Healthy boundaries are particularly important in relationships where emotional attachment is strong. Emotional attachment can sometimes blind us to behaviors that are harmful or unhealthy. You might allow the other person to overstep your boundaries because you are afraid of losing them, or because you believe that accommodating their needs will strengthen the bond. But over time, this can lead to emotional depletion, leaving you feeling disconnected from your own needs and values. Setting boundaries allows you to engage in relationships from a place of strength rather than dependency. It creates a space where both parties can maintain their individuality while still nurturing a connection. When you start to set boundaries, it can feel uncomfortable at first. You may worry about how the other person will react, especially if they are used to you being overly available or constantly accommodating. But it's important to remember that boundaries are not about controlling the other person. They are about taking responsibility for your own emotional health. By clearly defining what you are willing to tolerate and what you are not, you communicate your values and expectations in a way that fosters respect. It is not your job to manage how the other person responds to your boundaries, but it is your job to uphold them with consistency and clarity. One key to setting effective boundaries is understanding that they must be communicated clearly and assertively. It's not enough to set a boundary in your mind. You must express it to the other person in a way that leaves no room for misunderstanding. This communication can be direct but still compassionate. For example, if someone's behavior is crossing a boundary, you can say, I value our relationship, but I need you to understand that I can't continue this conversation if it involves criticism or negativity. This approach makes it clear that the boundary is not about rejecting the person, but about protecting your emotional space. When boundaries are communicated with love and respect, they are more likely to be honored. Another important aspect of healthy boundaries is consistency. Once you establish a boundary, it's essential to enforce it consistently. If you allow others to violate your boundaries without consequence, the boundary loses its effectiveness. For instance, if you set a boundary that you will not engage in conversations after a certain time of day because you need time to rest, but you consistently answer calls late into the night, you send the message that your boundary is flexible or unimportant. Consistency is key because it reinforces the boundary and shows others that you are serious about protecting your emotional well-being. Healthy boundaries also require self-awareness. To set meaningful boundaries, you must first be clear about your own emotional needs and limits. This self-awareness comes from taking the time to reflect on what makes you feel uncomfortable, drained, or overwhelmed in relationships. When you know your limits, you can communicate them more effectively and avoid situations that push you beyond what you can emotionally handle. For example, if spending too much time with a certain person leaves you feeling anxious or depleted, it may be a sign that you need to set limits on how often you interact with them or the type of conversations you engage in. This self-reflection helps you create boundaries that are aligned with your emotional and mental health. One of the biggest challenges in maintaining boundaries is dealing with people who resist or challenge them. Some individuals may react negatively to your boundaries because they are used to a certain level of access to your time, energy, or emotions. They may push back, test your limits, or accuse you of being distant or unavailable. In these situations, it's crucial to stand firm in your boundaries and remember that they are there to protect your emotional health, not to please others. You cannot control how others respond to your boundaries, but you can control how you choose to enforce them. If someone repeatedly violates your boundaries despite your clear communication, it may be necessary to reevaluate the relationship and decide if it is still serving your emotional well-being. Setting healthy boundaries is an act of self-love. It's a way of honoring your emotional needs and taking responsibility for your own happiness. When you establish boundaries, you reclaim your power and create space for healthier, more balanced relationships. You give yourself permission to say no when necessary, to take time for yourself, and to prioritize your well-being without guilt or fear. Boundaries are not barriers to connection. They are pathways to deeper, more authentic relationships where both parties feel respected and valued. When you set boundaries, you create a foundation for emotional freedom and personal growth, allowing you to engage in relationships without losing yourself in them. Letting go of attachment is one of the most challenging yet liberating experiences you can go through, especially when it comes to people who have played a significant role in your life. Attachment to someone often comes with emotional ties that are deeply rooted in your sense of identity, security, and self-worth. When you are attached to someone, your emotions become intertwined with their actions, words, and presence in your life. This can create a cycle of dependency where your emotional state is dictated by their behavior, leaving you vulnerable to disappointment, hurt, and anxiety. Letting go of this attachment is not about dismissing or devaluing the person, but about reclaiming your emotional independence and finding peace within yourself. The first step in letting go of attachment is recognizing that attachment often stems from a place of fear. This fear could be of being alone, of losing someone who provides you with a sense of comfort, or of facing the unknown. Attachment can make you feel that your happiness and stability are dependent on another person, and this can lead to unhealthy patterns in relationships. For instance, you might cling to someone even when the relationship no longer serves you, out of fear of what life would be like without them. Letting go of attachment involves facing this fear and understanding that your well-being does not have to be tied to someone else's presence in your life. In relationships, it is natural to develop bonds with others, but it is important to differentiate between a healthy connection and an unhealthy attachment. A healthy connection allows for mutual respect, independence, and emotional balance. Both individuals are whole within themselves, and the relationship enhances their lives without becoming the sole source of their emotional fulfillment. In contrast, unhealthy attachment is often marked by emotional dependency, where one person relies on the other for validation, happiness, or self-worth. This kind of attachment can stifle personal growth and lead to feelings of insecurity, jealousy, and possessiveness. Letting go of attachment is essential for fostering a relationship dynamic that is based on love, respect, and equality. Letting go of attachment requires a shift in mindset. It begins with the realization that true emotional freedom comes from within, not from someone else. When you are attached to someone, you may believe that they complete you or that you need them to feel whole. However, this belief is limiting because it places your sense of self-worth in the hands of another person. In reality, you are already complete, and the love, happiness, and peace you seek are all within you. Letting go of attachment involves embracing this truth and recognizing that your emotional well-being is your own responsibility. One of the key ways to let go of attachment is through self-reflection and mindfulness. Take time to reflect on your emotional patterns and ask yourself why you are so attached to this person. What needs or desires are you hoping they will fulfill? Are you seeking validation, security, or approval from them? By examining these questions, you can gain insight into the underlying reasons for your attachment and begin to address those needs within yourself. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or journaling, can help you become more aware of your emotions and thoughts. allowing you to observe your attachment without judgment and begin the process of releasing it. Another important aspect of letting go of attachment is accepting that change is a natural part of life. Relationships evolve and people grow in different directions. Holding on to someone too tightly can prevent both you and the other person from experiencing personal growth and new opportunities. Letting go of attachment means accepting that it is okay for relationships to change or even come to an end. It does not diminish the value of what the relationship once was, but rather allows for new experiences and growth to take place. When you release the need to control the outcome of a relationship, you open yourself up to the possibility of greater emotional freedom and peace. Letting go of attachment also involves setting emotional boundaries with yourself. Often, attachment is fueled by overthinking, obsessing over the other person, or constantly seeking their attention or approval. These behaviors can create a sense of emotional dependency that is difficult to break. By setting boundaries with yourself, you can start to detach from these patterns. This might mean limiting how much time you spend thinking about the person or refraining from checking up on them through social media or other means. It's about redirecting your focus away from the external source of attachment and back toward your own life, interests, and well-being. Forgiveness plays a powerful role in letting go of attachment. Often, attachment is tied to unresolved feelings of hurt, disappointment, or unmet expectations. You might be holding on to the idea of what the relationship could have been or the way you wish the other person had treated you. Forgiving both the other person and yourself for any perceived wrongs is essential to releasing these emotional ties. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather freeing yourself from the emotional weight of resentment or regret. It allows you to move forward with a sense of peace and closure without being held back by the past. Letting go of attachment ultimately leads to emotional liberation. When you are no longer bound by the need for someone else's approval, affection, or presence, you are free to live authentically and pursue your own happiness. This doesn't mean you stop caring for others or that relationships are no longer important. Rather, it means that your sense of self-worth and emotional well-being are no longer dependent on external factors. You are free to give and receive love from a place of wholeness without the fear of losing yourself in the process. The process of letting go of attachment is not easy, and it often requires time, patience, and self-compassion. There may be moments when you feel the pull of attachment and the desire to return to old patterns. But with continued self-awareness and commitment to your emotional health, you can break free from attachment and experience the peace that comes with emotional independence. Letting go of attachment allows you to reclaim your personal power, foster healthier relationships, and cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace. Cultivating self-awareness is a fundamental aspect of emotional detachment. It's the process of looking inward, understanding your own emotions, motivations, and triggers, and becoming more in tune with what drives your behavior in relationships. When you are emotionally attached to someone, it's easy to lose sight of yourself because your focus often shifts toward them, how they feel, how they act, and how they respond to you. This can lead to a lack of balance in your own emotional life, where the other person's needs or behaviors take precedence over your own. To effectively detach, you must first develop a deep sense of self-awareness, allowing you to recognize the patterns in your thoughts and actions that contribute to your attachment. Self-awareness begins with acknowledging how you feel. You need to ask yourself why you are so emotionally invested in this person. What is it about them that pulls at your emotions? Is it love, or is it fear of being alone? Is it genuine connection, or is it a need for validation? These are difficult but necessary questions to explore. Often, attachment to another person stems from unresolved needs within yourself, needs that you may have neglected to address, leading you to seek fulfillment from someone else. Becoming aware of these underlying motivations can help you start to separate your emotional needs from the person you're attached to and begin the process of detachment. A key component of self-awareness is recognizing your triggers. In the context of emotional attachment, triggers are the situations, words, or actions that evoke strong emotional responses from you, particularly those that intensify your attachment. For example, a simple message or gesture from the person may cause a flood of emotions, leading you to overthink, feel anxious, or become preoccupied with their attention or lack thereof. understanding what triggers these responses is crucial because it helps you identify where you are most vulnerable in your attachment. Once you recognize these triggers, you can start to manage your emotional responses more effectively, preventing yourself from being swept away by your emotions. Self-awareness also involves understanding the role your past experiences play in shaping your current attachment. Many times, attachment is rooted in past relationships or unresolved emotional wounds. Perhaps you've experienced abandonment, rejection, or neglect in the past, and these experiences have left an imprint on your emotional landscape. You may unconsciously fear a repeat of these experiences, which causes you to cling more tightly to the person you are currently attached to, even if the relationship is unhealthy or unbalanced. By reflecting on your past, you can start to see how it influences your present attachments and begin to heal from those old wounds. This healing process is essential for emotional detachment, as it frees you from the baggage of the past and allows you to engage in relationships with greater clarity and emotional independence. Another aspect of self-awareness and emotional detachment is recognizing your own worth. Attachment often clouds your sense of self, making you feel that your value is tied to the other person's approval, attention, or love. This can lead to behaviors like seeking constant validation, bending over backward to meet their needs, or feeling unworthy when they don't respond in the way you hope. Detaching emotionally requires you to reconnect with your own sense of self-worth, independent of the other person. It means understanding that you are whole and complete as you are, and that your value does not diminish because someone else does not meet your emotional expectations. This realization can be incredibly empowering, as it allows you to shift your focus from seeking external validation to cultivating self-love and self-acceptance. Developing self-awareness also means paying attention to the patterns in your relationships. Are you consistently drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable? Do you find yourself repeating the same cycles of attachment and disappointment in multiple relationships? These patterns can provide valuable insights into the underlying beliefs and fears that drive your attachment. For example, you might discover that you are attracted to emotionally unavailable people because deep down you fear intimacy or vulnerability. Alternatively, you might realize that you seek out relationships where you are the caregiver because it allows you to avoid focusing on your own needs. By becoming aware of these patterns, you can begin to break the cycle and make healthier choices in your relationships. One of the most challenging aspects of cultivating self-awareness is learning to sit with your emotions rather than reacting to them. When you are attached to someone, it's easy to let your emotions control your actions. You may feel the urge to reach out to them, seek reassurance, or overanalyze every interaction. However, self-awareness involves recognizing these emotions without immediately acting on them. It's about observing your feelings, understanding where they come from, and allowing yourself to experience them without letting them dictate your behavior. This practice of emotional mindfulness can help you detach from the intensity of your feelings and create space for more rational, balanced responses. A significant part of self-awareness is also accepting responsibility for your own emotional health. It's easy to blame the other person for how you feel, whether it's frustration, hurt, or disappointment. However, true emotional detachment comes when you take ownership of your emotions and recognize that no one else is responsible for your happiness or well-being. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending they don't exist, but rather understanding that you have the power to manage your emotions and make choices that support your emotional health. By taking responsibility for your own feelings, you free yourself from the dependency that often comes with attachment, allowing you to approach relationships from a place of strength rather than neediness. As you cultivate self-awareness, you begin to see that emotional detachment is not about shutting down or becoming indifferent. It's about developing a balanced, grounded perspective on your relationships and your emotions. Self-awareness allows you to understand your attachment without being controlled by it. It helps you recognize when your emotions are leading you astray and gives you the tools to course correct. Through self-awareness, you learn to approach relationships with greater clarity, allowing you to detach emotionally in a way that preserves your peace and well-being. Self-awareness is the foundation for emotional detachment. It allows you to understand yourself on a deeper level, giving you the insight and tools to break free from unhealthy attachments and reclaim your emotional independence. With self-awareness, you can engage in relationships from a place of wholeness, no longer seeking validation or fulfillment from others, but instead finding it within yourself. This shift in perspective is what enables true emotional freedom, allowing you to navigate your relationships with greater ease, confidence, and peace. Creating emotional distance is an essential step in the process of detaching from someone. It's not about cutting off all contact or pretending that the person doesn't matter to you anymore, but rather about creating healthy boundaries that allow you to regain control over your own emotional well-being. Emotional attachment can become overwhelming when there are no clear boundaries between you and the person you are attached to. Your emotions may become entangled with theirs, and their actions or inactions can dictate how you feel, leaving you feeling powerless. Creating emotional distance allows you to reclaim that power and begin to separate your emotional state from their influence. One of the first steps in creating emotional distance is reducing the amount of time and energy you spend thinking about or interacting with the person. When you're attached to someone, they tend to occupy a significant amount of your mental and emotional space. You might find yourself constantly thinking about them, replaying conversations in your mind, or worrying about how they feel about you. This kind of mental fixation keeps you emotionally tethered to them and prevents you from moving forward. By consciously deciding to limit your thoughts about the person and redirect your focus to other aspects of your life, you begin to create the space needed to emotionally detach. Limiting communication can also be an important part of creating emotional distance. This doesn't mean you have to cut off all contact with the person, especially if they are someone you see regularly or need to interact with. However, it does mean being mindful of how much you engage with them and in what ways. For instance, if you find yourself constantly reaching out to them for reassurance or validation, it might be time to take a step back and ask yourself if this is truly helping you or just reinforcing your attachment. By limiting your interactions, you give yourself the opportunity to break free from the cycle of emotional dependency and start focusing on your own needs and well-being. Another critical aspect of creating emotional distance is setting boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set for yourself to protect your emotional health. These boundaries may include deciding what kind of behavior is acceptable from the other person, how much time you are willing to spend with them, or how deeply you allow their words and actions to affect you. Establishing boundaries allows you to maintain your emotional integrity and prevents the other person from having too much influence over your feelings and decisions. For example, if you're dealing with someone who tends to be emotionally manipulative or inconsistent, setting boundaries around how much you let their behavior affect you can be a powerful way to create emotional distance. Emotional distance also involves letting go of the need for constant approval or validation from the person. When you are attached to someone, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking their validation as a way to feel good about yourself. You might feel like you need their approval to confirm your worth or their attention to feel valued. However, this keeps you emotionally dependent on them and prevents you from developing your own sense of self-worth. By creating emotional distance, you begin to shift your focus away from seeking their validation and instead work on finding that sense of worth within yourself. This allows you to detach from the need for constant reassurance and start building a stronger foundation of self-confidence. An important part of creating emotional distance is recognizing that you are responsible for your own emotions. It's easy to feel like someone else is in control of how you feel, especially when you're attached to them. Their words, actions, or even their absence can have a significant impact on your emotional state. However, by creating emotional distance, you begin to take ownership of your own feelings and recognize that no one else is responsible for your happiness or well-being. This shift in perspective is crucial because it allows you to stop looking to the other person to fulfill your emotional needs and start fulfilling them yourself. You begin to realize that you have the power to choose how you respond to situations and that your emotions are within your control. Practicing self-care is a key part of creating emotional distance. When you're emotionally attached to someone, it's easy to neglect your own needs because so much of your energy is focused on them. You might find yourself putting their needs ahead of your own, sacrificing your well-being for the sake of the relationship. Creating emotional distance requires you to prioritize your own self-care and well-being. This means making time for activities that nourish you, whether it's spending time with friends, pursuing hobbies, or simply taking time for yourself to relax and recharge. By focusing on your own self-care, you reinforce the message that your well-being is a priority, and you start to shift your focus away from the other person and back to yourself. Another aspect of creating emotional distance is developing emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficult emotions and setbacks. When you are attached to someone, even small interactions or disappointments can feel overwhelming because your emotions are so closely tied to their actions. By creating emotional distance, you start to build your emotional resilience, learning how to manage your feelings without being dependent on the other person's behavior. This resilience allows you to handle challenges in the relationship with greater clarity and calmness rather than being swept up in emotional turbulence. In some cases, creating emotional distance may also involve accepting that the relationship has changed or is no longer serving you in a healthy way. Emotional attachment can often blind you to the reality of the relationship, causing you to hold on even when it is no longer beneficial to either person involved. Creating distance allows you to see the relationship more clearly and make decisions based on what is best for your emotional well-being. This might mean reevaluating the role the person plays in your life, or even letting go of the relationship entirely if it is no longer serving your highest good. Creating emotional distance is about reclaiming your emotional independence. It's about recognizing that you do not need to be emotionally tied to someone else in order to feel complete or secure. By creating this distance, you give yourself the space to heal, reflect, and grow. You start to build a stronger sense of self, grounded in your own worth and independent of the other person's influence. Emotional distance allows you to regain your sense of balance and control, enabling you to engage in relationships from a place of strength rather than neediness. Creating emotional distance is not easy, and it often requires consistent effort and self-discipline. There will be moments when you feel the pull of attachment and the desire to return to old patterns of thinking or behaving. However, with time and practice, you can learn to create the space you need to detach emotionally and reclaim your personal power. This process leads to greater emotional freedom, allowing you to navigate your relationships with more peace, clarity, and confidence. Shifting your focus from the person you are trying to detach from to yourself is a critical step in the process of emotional detachment. This shift is about redirecting the energy and attention that you have been pouring into someone else back into your own life. When you're emotionally attached to someone, it's common to place their needs, feelings, and well-being at the center of your focus. You may find yourself constantly thinking about how they're doing, what they're thinking, and how they're responding to you. This kind of fixation not only drains your emotional resources, but also prevents you from taking care of your own needs and growth. By consciously shifting your focus, you begin to reclaim your energy and direct it toward your personal development. The first aspect of shifting your focus involves recognizing how much of your mental and emotional energy has been invested in the other person. When you're attached, it's easy to become consumed with thoughts about them. You may find yourself replaying conversations, analyzing their actions, or fantasizing about different outcomes. This mental preoccupation keeps you tethered to them emotionally, making it difficult to move forward. The key to breaking this cycle is to become aware of when your thoughts are revolving around the other person and to gently redirect your focus back to yourself. This is not about ignoring the person or denying their significance in your life, but about finding a healthier balance where you are not constantly consumed by thoughts of them. Once you recognize how much energy you've been investing in the other person, the next step is to start investing that energy into yourself. This means taking time to focus on your own goals, passions, and well-being. When you're emotionally attached to someone, it's easy to lose sight of your own priorities because so much of your focus is on them. By shifting your focus, you can begin to reconnect with what truly matters to you and what makes you feel fulfilled. This might involve setting new personal goals, exploring hobbies or interests that you've neglected, or simply spending more time doing things that bring you joy and peace. The more you invest in yourself, the less dependent you become on the other person for emotional fulfillment. Ladies and gentlemen, Have you ever felt like you are on the verge of something great, but you can't quite put your finger on it? Perhaps you've been waiting for a breakthrough, praying for that one blessing to change your life. Well, let me tell you, God often sends signs when He's about to bless you. And recognizing these signs can prepare you to receive His divine favor. Today, we will explore 5 unmistakable signs that God is about to open the floodgates of blessings in your life. Recognizing divine timing is crucial when it comes to understanding when God is about to bless you. Many times we find ourselves in situations where we feel uncertain, confused, or even frustrated because things aren't happening the way we expected. We may ask, why hasn't this blessing come yet? Why am I still waiting? The truth is, God's timing is not our timing, and His ways are often far beyond our comprehension. The key to receiving a blessing lies in recognizing the divine timing that precedes it. Once you are attuned to this spiritual timing, you'll begin to understand that every step, every delay, and every struggle is leading you toward a greater purpose. The first thing to understand about divine timing is that it is never random. Every moment of your life is orchestrated by God, and His timing is always perfect. This may be difficult to grasp, especially when you're in the middle of a trial or when it feels like things are not moving fast enough. But the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:1 that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This means that your breakthrough, your blessing, has an appointed time. It won't come early and it won't be late. It will arrive at the precise moment when you are ready to receive it and when it will have the maximum impact on your life. One of the ways to recognize divine timing is by paying attention to the patterns in your life. Often before a blessing, you may notice a shift in your circumstances. You might experience a period of waiting, a period of preparation, or even a period of struggle. These moments are not setbacks, but setups. God is aligning the pieces of your life, putting everything in place for the right moment when His blessing will unfold. If you've been feeling like nothing is happening, don't lose heart. In the background, God is working on your behalf, ensuring that when the blessing comes, you will be ready to step into it. Another sign of divine timing is when doors that were previously closed begin to open. Perhaps you've been knocking on certain doors for months or even years and nothing has changed. But when the time is right, those same doors will suddenly swing wide open. These doors may be opportunities, relationships, or even dreams that you had once thought were dead. The opening of these doors is not a coincidence. It is God's way of signaling that your time has come. He has prepared everything in the background, and now the stage is set for you to step into your blessing. Recognizing divine timing also requires patience. In a world that values speed and instant gratification, waiting on God's timing can feel uncomfortable or even painful. But the Bible reminds us in Isaiah 40:31 that those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Waiting is not passive. It is an active process of trusting God, believing that He knows best. During this period, God is often working on your character, preparing you to handle the blessing He has in store. Sometimes the reason for the delay is that God is molding you, strengthening you, and shaping you into the person who can receive and sustain the blessing. One of the greatest mistakes we can make is to try and rush God's timing. When we take matters into our own hands, we may achieve temporary success, but it won't have the lasting impact of a blessing that comes in God's perfect timing. Think of Sarah and Abraham in the Bible. They were promised a child, but when the fulfillment of that promise seemed delayed, Sarah took matters into her own hands by giving her maidservant Hagar to Abraham, which led to complications and heartache. But when the time was right, God fulfilled His promise in His way, and Isaac was born. This teaches us that when we wait on God's timing, the blessing will not only be fulfilled, but it will be far greater than anything we could have orchestrated ourselves. Another crucial element of divine timing is learning to trust the process. Often, the wait is not just about the time it takes for things to align externally, but also about what God is doing internally. He may be refining your faith, increasing your patience, or deepening your relationship with Him. You may be waiting for a blessing, but God is more concerned with who you are becoming in the process. He wants to make sure that when the blessing comes, you are spiritually mature enough to handle it, This means that recognizing divine timing also involves recognizing the work God is doing in you during the wait. Divine timing brings with it a sense of peace. Even when circumstances are chaotic or uncertain, when you are in sync with God's timing, there is a deep, unshakable peace that comes over you. This peace is a sign that you are on the right path, that God is in control, and that your blessing is on its way. You may not see the full picture yet, but you have the assurance that everything is happening according to God's plan. When you feel this peace, it's a sign that your breakthrough is near and that God is about to bless you in ways you can't even imagine. Recognizing divine timing is about understanding that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our own. It requires patience, trust, and an ability to see the bigger picture. When you align yourself with God's timing, you position yourself to receive His blessings at the right moment, in the right way, and with the right heart. So pay attention to the signs, trust the process, and know that when the time is right, God will bless you beyond measure. Understanding that challenges often serve as indicators of impending blessings can transform how we view adversity in our lives. Most of us tend to see struggles and difficulties as negative experiences, something to be avoided or escaped as quickly as possible. However, in the spiritual realm, challenges are often the precursors to significant blessings. When we face trials, setbacks, and obstacles, it is easy to feel discouraged and to wonder why things aren't going the way we planned. Yet, it is during these times that God is often preparing us for something much greater than we could ever imagine. Challenges can be seen as divine tests, moments where our faith, perseverance, and trust in God are refined. When we face difficulties, God is often using those moments to mold our character, to teach us lessons we need to learn, and to prepare us for the blessings that are just around the corner. In fact, many of the greatest blessings in life come after a season of intense challenges. These periods of hardship are not meant to destroy us, but to build us up, to strengthen us for what is to come. One of the reasons challenges precede blessings is because they stretch our capacity to receive. Think about it like this: if you are preparing to receive a significant blessing, you need to be ready to handle it. Whether it's a new opportunity, a promotion, a relationship, or any other form of blessing, God wants to make sure that you are not only ready to receive it, but that you will also be able to sustain it. The challenges you face are often God's way of expanding your capacity. They stretch your faith, build your resilience, and teach you valuable lessons that you will need when the blessing arrives. Often during challenges, we experience moments of discomfort, fear, or frustration. This is natural because our human nature tends to resist anything that pushes us out of our comfort zone. But what we must remember is that God doesn't call us to a life of comfort. He calls us to a life of growth, and growth is often uncomfortable. The discomfort we feel during challenges is part of the refining process. Just like gold is purified through fire, we too are refined through the heat of challenges. Every setback, every difficult season, and every obstacle is part of God's process of making us ready for the next level. When challenges come, it is easy to feel as though God has forgotten about us or that He is punishing us. However, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, the opposite is often true. Challenges are a sign that God is working in your life. He is actively preparing you for something bigger. In the Bible, we see countless examples of this. Consider Joseph, for instance. Before he became a ruler in Egypt, he went through betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. From the outside looking in, it would have seemed like Joseph was far from any blessing. Yet each challenge he faced was a stepping stone toward the fulfillment of God's plan for his life. The story of Joseph teaches us that our challenges are not the end of the story. They are merely chapters in a greater narrative that God is writing. Each setback, each moment of pain or struggle is part of the process that leads to the ultimate blessing. Had Joseph given up in the face of his challenges, he would never have stepped into his destiny. This is a reminder to us that we must not let our challenges define us or deter us from the path God has set before us. Instead, we must persevere, knowing that on the other side of our challenges, there is a blessing waiting. Another reason challenges precede blessings is that they build our trust in God. When everything in life is going smoothly, it's easy to trust God. But when the storms hit, when things don't go as planned, that's when our faith is truly tested. It's in those moments of uncertainty that we learn to rely on God fully. Challenges strip away our reliance on our own strength, wisdom, or understanding, and they force us to depend entirely on God. This deepened trust is often the foundation upon which the blessing is built. When we learn to trust God in the challenges, we are better prepared to steward the blessings He gives us. Challenges also serve to increase our appreciation for the blessings when they come. If everything in life came easily, we might take our blessings for granted. But when we've gone through a difficult season, when we face trials and overcome obstacles, the blessings that follow become even more precious. We appreciate them more deeply because we understand what it took to get there. The pain, the struggle, the perseverance, it all makes the blessing that much sweeter. Challenges reveal the strength and resilience we didn't know we had. Often, it's in the face of adversity that we discover our true potential. The obstacles we face push us to dig deeper, to find strength we didn't know we had, and to grow in ways we never thought possible. These challenges are not just about testing us, they are about revealing the greatness within us that God has placed there. And when the blessing comes, we step into it with a greater sense of confidence and assurance because we've already seen what we are capable of overcoming. In the end, the challenges we face are not meant to discourage us, but to prepare us. They are signs that God is about to do something great in our lives. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, we should begin to see them as opportunities for growth, for strengthening our faith, and for positioning ourselves for the blessing that is on its way. So when challenges arise, don't be discouraged. Instead, take heart, knowing that God is using them to prepare you for something far greater than you can imagine. The blessing is coming, and the challenges are merely the preparation ground for the abundance that lies ahead. Experiencing an overwhelming sense of peace in the midst of uncertainty is one of the clearest signs that God is about to bless you. In a world filled with chaos, stress, and constant noise, having an unshakable peace within you is a divine indicator that something extraordinary is on the horizon. This kind of peace doesn't come from external circumstances or material comforts. It is a deep inner calm that can only come from God. It surpasses understanding, transcending the normal reactions of fear, anxiety, or doubt that we might expect in challenging times. When you feel this peace, it is as though God is whispering to you, hold on, I am about to do something amazing in your life. The presence of peace amid turmoil is not only comforting, but also empowering. It allows you to navigate difficult situations with clarity and confidence, knowing that God is in control. Often, just before a blessing arrives, you may find yourself in circumstances that would normally cause stress or anxiety. Perhaps you are facing a financial crisis, a health issue, or uncertainty about the future. Yet, despite all the reasons you have to worry, there is a calm within you. This peace is not something you can manufacture or force. It is a gift from God, a confirmation that His hand is at work in your life, even when you cannot see the full picture. One reason this peace comes before a blessing is because it serves as an anchor. Life's storms may rage around you, but this peace keeps you grounded. It reminds you that God is sovereign and that nothing happens outside of His control. When you have this peace, you are able to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. It is a reminder that God's plan is unfolding in His perfect timing, and you don't need to fear the unknown. This peace allows you to release your worries and place your trust fully in God, knowing that He is working everything out for your good. Another aspect of this peace is that it signals readiness. Often, God will withhold a blessing until He knows that you are spiritually, emotionally, and mentally ready to receive it. When you are restless, anxious, or fearful, it can be difficult to focus on the things God is doing in your life. But when you have peace, it is a sign that you have reached a place of surrender, where you trust God's time and His methods. You are no longer trying to control the situation or force an outcome. Instead, you are resting in the assurance that God's plan is better than anything you could orchestrate yourself. This surrender and trust open the door for God to pour out His blessings, knowing that you are in a place where you can receive them fully and with gratitude. This peace is also a protection. Often before a blessing arrives, there may be distractions or attacks from the enemy designed to throw you off course. Fear, doubt, and confusion can cloud your mind and make it difficult to discern God's will. But when you have peace, it acts as a shield against these attacks. It protects your heart and mind, allowing you to remain focused on God's promises rather than the challenges in front of you. The enemy knows that if he can steal your peace, he can make you lose sight of the blessing that is coming. That's why this peace is so crucial. It keeps you grounded in faith and prevents you from being swayed by the distractions and deceptions that try to derail your progress. Peace is a sign that you are in alignment with God's will. When we are out of sync with God's plan, we often experience restlessness, anxiety, or frustration. But when we are aligned with His will, there is a natural flow and ease to life, even when circumstances are difficult. This peace is a confirmation that you are walking in step with God, that you are on the right path, and that you are exactly where He wants you to be. It is an inner knowing that everything is working together for your good, even if you can't see how it all fits together yet. This alignment brings with it a confidence that nothing can shake you, because you know that God's hand is guiding you every step of the way. Another powerful aspect of this peace is that it invites God's presence into your life in a deeper way. The Bible tells us that God is the Prince of Peace, and when we experience peace, we are experiencing His presence. When you carry this peace, it changes the atmosphere around you. People may not understand how you can remain calm in the midst of adversity, but that peace is a testimony to the God you serve. It's a reflection of your trust in Him and your understanding that He is in control. This peace not only prepares you for the blessing, but also draws others to God. When they see your peace, it becomes a witness to the power and faithfulness of God in your life. This peace brings clarity. Often when we are on the brink of a blessing, there are many decisions to be made. Should we take this opportunity? Should we wait for another? Should we move forward or hold back? In these moments, peace serves as a guide. When you are at peace with a decision, it is often a sign that God is directing your steps. Conversely, when you feel uneasy or unsettled, it may be a sign that something is off. This peace acts as an internal compass, helping you navigate the decisions that will lead you toward the blessing God has in store for you. The overwhelming sense of peace that you experience before a blessing is not a coincidence. It is a divine sign that God is at work in your life, that His plans are unfolding, and that a blessing is on the way. This peace serves as an anchor in times of uncertainty, a protection against distractions, and a confirmation that you are aligned with God's will. It signals that you are ready to receive the blessing and prepares your heart to embrace it fully. When you feel this peace, hold on to it, knowing that God's blessing is just around the corner and that He is working all things together for your good. When you notice doors that once seemed closed begin to open, it is often a sign that God is about to bless you. These doors can represent opportunities, relationships, resources, or pathways that align with your purpose and destiny. In life, there are moments when it feels as though every door you try to walk through is locked or closed off. And no matter how hard you knock or push, nothing seems to give way. This can be frustrating, especially when you are eager for progress or breakthrough. However, it is important to remember that God's timing is perfect. And sometimes closed doors are part of His plan to guide you toward the right opportunities. When doors begin to open, it is a signal that God is moving and aligning things in your favor, preparing to pour out blessings that are specifically tailored for you. These open doors often appear in unexpected ways and at times when you least expect them. Sometimes, the very thing you've been praying for or working towards suddenly becomes available to you without much effort on your part. This is because God has been working behind the scenes, orchestrating events and circumstances to bring you to this moment. He opens doors that no one can shut and shuts doors that no one can open. When you begin to see opportunities unfold before you, it is a sign that God is ready to move you into the next phase of your life. One of the most important things to recognize about open doors is that they often require discernment. Not every door that opens is from God, and not every opportunity is meant for you to walk through. That's why it's essential to stay connected to God in prayer and seek His guidance when new opportunities arise. When God opens a door, there is usually a sense of peace, clarity, and alignment that accompanies it. You'll feel an inner knowing that this is the path you are meant to take. It's not forced or rushed, it flows naturally. On the other hand, if you sense confusion or unease, it may be a sign that this is not the door God has opened for you. Learning to discern the difference between the doors God opens and those that are distractions is key to stepping into the blessings He has prepared for you. God often opens doors after a period of waiting or preparation. If you've been in a season where doors seem closed, where progress seems stalled, it may have been a time when God was preparing you for the blessing that is now ready to come into your life. Closed doors are not rejections, they are often redirections. God uses seasons of waiting to build your character, to grow your faith, and to ensure that you are ready to handle the blessings He is about to release. When the time is right, those doors that seem closed will suddenly open, and you'll see how everything was working together for your good. Open doors also signify divine favor. When God's favor is upon you, doors that were previously shut tight begin to swing wide open. You'll find that opportunities come to you that you didn't expect or necessarily work for. Favor causes you to be in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people and experiencing breakthroughs that don't seem to make sense in the natural. This is because God's favor transcends human effort and limitations. His favor accelerates progress and brings about blessings that are beyond what you could have imagined or achieved on your own. When you see doors opening in areas where you've struggled before, it is a sure sign that God's favor is at work in your life and that He is preparing to bless you abundantly. It's also important to understand that open doors often come with new responsibilities and challenges. Walking through a door that God has opened doesn't mean that everything will be easy from that point forward. In fact, new levels often bring new challenges. But these challenges are not meant to discourage you. They are there to help you grow and stretch as you step into the blessings God has for you. With every open door comes a new level of faith, trust, and reliance on God. He opens the door, but it is up to you to walk through it and to trust that He will equip you for whatever lies ahead. This is why maintaining a strong relationship with God is so crucial when new opportunities arise. He will guide you every step of the way and provide you with the wisdom, strength, and resources you need to succeed. Sometimes the open doors that God places before you will require you to leave your comfort zone. They may lead you into unfamiliar territory or require you to take a step of faith into something new. It's easy to stay in familiar surroundings where everything feels safe and predictable, but the greatest blessings often lie on the other side of fear and uncertainty. When God opens a door, it's an invitation to step into a new season of growth and expansion. It may feel intimidating at first, but remember that God wouldn't open the door if He didn't have a plan for you on the other side. He is calling you to trust Him, to step out in faith, and to embrace the new opportunities that He is placing before you. Another key aspect of open doors is that they often lead to connections and relationships that are pivotal to your destiny. God uses people to fulfill His purposes. And when He opens a door, He often connects you with individuals who can help you along your journey. These divine connections are not random. They are part of God's strategic plan to position you for the blessings He has prepared for you. Be mindful of the people God brings into your life when doors begin to open. They may be mentors, collaborators, or partners who play a significant role in helping you achieve your goals and fulfill your purpose. When doors begin to open in your life, it is a powerful sign that God is preparing to bless you. These doors represent opportunities, connections, and pathways that are aligned with His plan for your life. While not every door is from God, those that will come with peace, clarity, and divine favor. They may require you to step out of your comfort zone, face new challenges, and trust God in new ways, but they are always leading you toward the greater blessings that He has in store. Stay open to God's leading, be discerning, and have the faith to walk through the doors He opens, knowing that on the other side lies the fulfillment of His promises for your life. Experiencing an intense desire to serve and bless others is a profound sign that God is preparing to bless you. This desire often manifests as a deep, unshakable urge to help those around you, whether it be through acts of kindness, offering support, or sharing your resources. This feeling is not merely an inclination, it is a divine stirring within your heart that signals that God is about to release blessings in your life. It reminds you that blessings are not just for personal gain, they are often meant to be shared. When God begins to bless you, it typically comes with a call to bless others in return, creating a cycle of generosity and love that reflects His nature. When you feel this intense desire to serve, it can be an indication that you are entering a season where God is positioning you to receive. This desire may arise during times of prayer, meditation, or reflection, where you become increasingly aware of the needs of others. You may find yourself empathizing with those who are struggling, feeling compelled to lend a hand, or becoming passionate about specific causes that resonate with your heart. This is God's way of expanding your vision beyond your own circumstances, inviting you to see the world through His eyes and encouraging you to take action. This drive to serve is often rooted in love. It stems from an understanding of God's love for humanity and a desire to reflect that love through your actions. God's love compels us to step outside of ourselves and reach out to those who are hurting or in need. When you begin to feel this love bubble up inside of you, it is an indication that God is about to bless you abundantly as He sees your heart for others. In Scripture, we are reminded that God loves a cheerful giver, 2 Corinthians 9:7. And this principle holds true as we seek to embody His love in our interactions with others. This desire to serve can act as a catalyst for your own blessings. Often, the more you pour into the lives of others, the more God pours into yours. When you focus on being a blessing, you create an environment in which blessings can flow back to you. It's a beautiful reciprocal relationship. As you give of your time, resources, and love, you position yourself to receive blessings that go beyond what you could have imagined. God sees your heart and your willingness to serve, and He honors that by opening doors and providing for your needs in ways that may surprise you. This desire to serve also challenges us to step outside of our comfort zones. It may require us to take risks, sacrifice our time, or invest our resources into causes that may not benefit us directly. However, when we are willing to respond to this divine prompting, we often find that we grow in ways we never anticipated. Serving others cultivates humility, empathy, and compassion within us. It expands our perspective and reminds us that life is not solely about our own experiences or achievements, but about the interconnectedness of humanity. When we serve, we become more attuned to the needs of others and more aware of how our lives can impact those around us. As you pursue this desire to serve, it's essential to remain mindful of the unique gifts and talents that God has bestowed upon you. Each person has a specific calling and a unique way to bless others. Some may be gifted in teaching, while others may excel in acts of service or encouragement. Recognizing and embracing your gifts will empower you to serve effectively. When you align your service with your strengths, you can make a more significant impact in the lives of those around you. God has equipped you for the work He has called you to do, and when you lean into those gifts, you'll find that your service becomes a source of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. This desire to serve can also serve as a powerful testimony to those around you. When you embody a spirit of service, you reflect the love and character of God in tangible ways. People notice when you go out of your way to help others, and it can inspire them to do the same. Your acts of service can spark a ripple effect, encouraging others to step up and contribute to the needs of their communities. In this way, your blessings can extend far beyond your own life. They can impact generations to come as the cycle of generosity continues to flow. When you live with a heart of service, you create a legacy of love that mirrors the heart of God. Serving others can help shift your focus away from your challenges or struggles. It's easy to become consumed by our own problems, but when we engage in acts of kindness, we find a renewed sense of purpose and perspective. Helping others can uplift our spirits and remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. As we serve, we realize that there are many people facing difficulties, and our willingness to help can lighten their burdens while simultaneously lifting our own. It's a powerful reminder that we are part of a larger community, and our contributions can make a meaningful difference. This desire to serve prepares your heart to receive blessings with gratitude. When you serve others, you cultivate a spirit of thankfulness and humility. You begin to understand the value of what you have and recognize that blessings are not just possessions, but opportunities to make a difference. This perspective allows you to approach life with an open heart, ready to receive what God has in store for you. As you serve and bless others, you position yourself to recognize and appreciate the blessings that come your way, creating a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. An intense desire to serve and bless others is a powerful sign that God is preparing to bless you. This desire reflects God's love and calls you to step outside of yourself to make a difference in the lives of others. As you respond to this divine prompting, you will experience growth, fulfillment, and the blessings that come from a life of service. Embrace your unique gifts and allow your acts of kindness to serve as a testimony of God's love. By serving others, you create a cycle of generosity and gratitude that enriches your life and the lives of those around you. As you continue to seek opportunities to bless others, trust that God is at work in your life, ready to open doors and pour out blessings beyond what you can imagine. Experiencing peace and contentment amidst challenges is one of the most profound signs that God is preparing to bless you. In life, we often encounter storms, trials, and tribulations that test our faith and resilience. These moments can be overwhelming and disheartening, yet they also provide a unique opportunity to witness the hand of God in our lives. When you find yourself surrounded by chaos, but still maintain a sense of calm and assurance, it is a clear indication that God is working behind the scenes to bring about blessings that are aligned with His purpose for you. This peace does not stem from the absence of trouble, rather it flourishes in the midst of it, serving as a testament to your trust in God's faithfulness. The world can be filled with uncertainty, and challenges can often shake our foundations. However, the peace that surpasses all understanding, as described in Philippians 4:7, is a divine gift that comes from God alone. This peace is not dictated by external circumstances, but is rooted in a deep, abiding trust in God's goodness and sovereignty. When you experience this inner tranquility, you can be assured that God is at work, preparing to bless you in ways you may not yet comprehend. It signifies that you are leaning on Him for strength and guidance, which opens the door for His blessings to flow into your life. In challenging times, we often search for clarity and direction. When we remain anchored in God's peace, we gain a clearer perspective on our circumstances. This clarity allows us to make decisions that align with God's will and to respond to challenges with wisdom and grace. Instead of being driven by fear or anxiety, we are empowered to take steps forward with confidence, knowing that God is guiding our path. This sense of direction is an essential component of receiving God's blessings, as it ensures that we are not only prepared for what is to come, but are also actively participating in the fulfillment of His promises. Experiencing peace in adversity can serve as a source of strength for those around us. When others see you maintaining your composure and faith during difficult times, it can inspire and uplift them. Your ability to remain calm and centered amidst the storm can become a beacon of hope, encouraging others to trust God in their own struggles. This communal aspect of peace amplifies its impact. As you exhibit God's peace, it can create a ripple effect that touches the lives of those around you. In this way, your experience of peace is not only a blessing for you, but can also be a source of encouragement and inspiration for others who may be facing their own challenges. Experiencing this peace often leads to an increased awareness of God's presence in our lives. When we face challenges, it can be easy to feel isolated or abandoned. However, when we cultivate an attitude of peace, we become more attuned to God's nearness and His provision. This heightened awareness allows us to recognize the small blessings and moments of grace that often go unnoticed. It's in these moments that we begin to see how God is working in our lives, providing comfort, support, and guidance. This awareness fosters gratitude as we learn to appreciate the blessings that arise even in the midst of difficulty. Peace during challenging times strengthens our faith. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well, but true faith is often tested in times of trial. When we experience peace amidst the storm, it becomes a profound reminder of God's faithfulness. We learn to rely on His promises, knowing that he is with us in every situation. This deepened faith prepares us for the blessings that God is about to bestow upon us as it aligns our hearts and minds with his purposes. We begin to understand that the blessings God has for us are often a direct result of our willingness to trust him, even when we cannot see the way forward. This peace can lead to a greater sense of purpose. When we face challenges, we are often forced to reevaluate our priorities and goals. As we experience peace, we gain insight into what truly matters in life. This newfound clarity can help us focus on the areas where God is calling us to serve, grow, or change. Often the blessings that God has in store for us are closely tied to our purpose and calling. By fostering an environment of peace, we allow God to guide us toward the path that leads to his blessings. It's essential to acknowledge that achieving peace during challenging times is not always easy. It requires intentionality and a commitment to staying connected to God through prayer, scripture, and community. When we face difficulties, it can be tempting to allow fear and worry to take root in our hearts. However, by consciously choosing to focus on God's promises and seeking his presence, we can cultivate the peace that empowers us to navigate life's storms. It's a daily choice to surrender our worries and anxieties to God, trusting that he is in control and working for our good. As you experience peace and contentment in the face of adversity, it's important to share your journey with others. Testifying to the ways God has sustained you can be incredibly powerful. Your story can encourage those who are struggling to find peace in their own lives. By sharing your experiences, you not only glorify God, but also build a community of support and encouragement. This sense of shared faith can strengthen the bonds of fellowship and remind us all of the importance of supporting one another through life's challenges. Experiencing peace and contentment amidst challenges is a profound indication that God is preparing to bless you. This peace serves as a reminder of God's faithfulness, guiding your decisions and actions as you navigate trials. It inspires others, deepens your faith, and allows you to recognize the blessings that arise even in difficult circumstances. As you cultivate this peace in your life, remain open to the ways God is working in and through you, knowing that he is preparing to pour out blessings that will transform your life and the lives of those around you. Trust in his promises and allow his peace to lead you into a season of abundant blessings. In conclusion, recognizing the signs that God is preparing to bless you is a transformative journey that deepens your faith and enhances your understanding of his divine workings in your life. As we have explored an intense desire to serve others, the emergence of divine opportunities, and a powerful sense of peace amid challenges all signal God's readiness to shower you with blessings. These signs are not just mere coincidences, they are affirmations of God's presence and purpose in your life, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. As you navigate through life, embrace these indicators with an open heart and a willing spirit. Remember that every act of kindness, every opportunity seized, and every moment of peace is a testament to God's love and grace at work. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude and remain attuned to the needs of others, you position yourself to receive not only personal blessings, but also the joy of impacting the lives around you. Trust in the divine timing of God, for his plans are far greater than your own. He is continually working behind the scenes, orchestrating events and relationships to align with his will for your life. Your readiness to serve and your commitment to remain open to his guidance will usher in a season of abundance, fulfillment, and joy. As you move forward, keep your eyes wide open to the blessings that are on the horizon. Allow your experiences of service, divine opportunities, and inner peace to lead you into a deeper relationship with God. Trust that he is indeed preparing to bless you beyond measure, and remain expectant for the extraordinary things he will bring into your life. With faith as your anchor, step boldly into the blessings that await you, knowing that God is faithful to fulfill his promises. Embrace this journey with hope, knowing that every moment spent in service, every challenge faced with grace, and every instance of peace is a step closer to the abundant life God has in store for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we often underestimate the immense value of our personal energy. The very life force that fuels our every thought, action, and decision is sacred. Yet there are those around us, sometimes close, sometimes distant, who drain this vital energy, leaving us feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and even lost. Today, I want to speak to you about identifying these people and, more importantly, how to protect yourself from their influence. Your energy is the essence of your being. It fuels your thoughts, shapes your experiences, and drives your actions. Every interaction, whether positive or negative, affects this energy. Yet most of us spend our days without fully realizing just how sacred and finite this resource is. We often give away our energy to others, unaware of the deep impact it has on our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Your energy is not just a physical force, it encompasses your emotional, mental, and spiritual states. It's the feeling you get when you wake up in the morning, whether you're excited and ready to face the day or weighed down by stress and anxiety. This energy influences how you see the world, how you interact with others, and most importantly, how you perceive yourself. Protecting this energy, therefore, is not just about maintaining physical stamina, it's about safeguarding your inner world, the very core of your being. When your energy is high, you feel powerful, capable, and full of potential. You radiate positivity and attract experiences and people that align with this vibration. On the other hand, when your energy is low, you might feel drained, overwhelmed, or even disconnected from your purpose. The things that once brought you joy seem distant, and you find yourself reacting to life rather than actively participating in it. This shift in energy can often happen without you even realizing it, slowly seeping away through interactions that don't serve you. Have you ever noticed how certain people make you feel more alive, while others leave you feeling exhausted? This is no coincidence. Every relationship and interaction either adds to or depletes your energy. It's in these moments that the importance of protecting your energy becomes clear. When we talk about energy, we are referring to more than just the physical strength to get through the day. We are talking about the emotional and spiritual reserves that allow you to show up as your best self in every situation. There are countless ways in which our energy can be drained, often by the people closest to us. Whether it's the constant complainer who fills every conversation with negativity, or the manipulator who subtly makes you feel guilty for prioritizing your needs, these individuals chip away at your energy reserves little by little. At first, it may not seem like a significant issue. You might think you can handle a negative comment here or a bit of emotional manipulation there. But over time, these small drains add up, leaving you feeling depleted and out of alignment with your true self. This is why protecting your energy is so crucial. It's not about building walls or isolating yourself from others. It's about setting boundaries that ensure your energy remains intact. When you protect your energy, you create space for growth, joy, and peace. You allow yourself to be fully present without the weight of someone else's negativity pulling you down. You become more aligned with your purpose, more centered in your being, and more capable of handling life's challenges with grace and resilience. But how do you protect your energy, especially when the drainers are people you care about or see regularly? The first step is awareness. You must become aware of the impact others have on your energy. Start by paying attention to how you feel after interacting with certain people. Do you feel lighter, uplifted, and more connected to your sense of self? Or do you feel weighed down, exhausted, and emotionally drained? This awareness is key to identifying the people and situations that are depleting your energy. Once you've identified the sources of energy drain, the next step is to set boundaries. Boundaries are not about cutting people out of your life entirely. They are about creating a healthy space between you and their negativity. It might mean limiting the time you spend with someone who always complains or saying no to requests that don't align with your values or priorities. Boundaries can be difficult to set, especially if you've been conditioned to put others' needs before your own. But remember, protecting your energy is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-preservation. Another important aspect of protecting your energy is learning how to recharge. Even when we set boundaries, life can still be demanding, and our energy can fluctuate. This is why it's essential to engage in practices that replenish your energy and bring you back to a state of balance. Whether it's meditation, spending time in nature, practicing gratitude, or engaging in creative activities that bring you joy, these are the moments that refill your emotional and spiritual reserves. Your energy is the most valuable asset you possess. Without it, everything in your life, from your relationships to your goals, suffers. When you learn to protect and nurture this energy, you empower yourself to live a life of greater fulfillment and purpose. You become more resilient to the external pressures of the world, more connected to your inner wisdom, and more capable of manifesting the life you truly desire. Your energy is sacred. Protect it fiercely, and you will find that everything in your life begins to align with the highest version of yourself. You will attract people who respect your boundaries, experiences that uplift your spirit, and a sense of inner peace that cannot be shaken by the negativity of others. It all begins with recognizing the power of your energy and making the conscious choice to protect it. As you journey through life, one of the most important things you can do is learn to recognize the people who drain your energy. These individuals may not always be obvious. Sometimes they can be close friends, family members, or even colleagues who over time subtly or overtly deplete your vitality. Recognizing negative people is the first step toward protecting yourself from their draining influence, but doing so requires a keen sense of awareness and discernment. There are 6 types of negative individuals who commonly drain your energy. The first is the constant complainer. This person is perpetually dissatisfied with life, always finding something wrong with every situation. Whether it's the weather, their job, or the people around them, they never seem to run out of things to criticize. Conversations with them are heavy, and you often leave feeling down yourself, as if their negativity has seeped into your own energy field. The challenge with constant complainers is that their negativity is contagious. It's easy to fall into the trap of complaining yourself, aligning with their frequency, and gradually adopting their pessimistic outlook. The second type is the criticizer. This individual always seems to have something negative to say, especially when it comes to you. No matter how hard you try, your efforts are met with judgment and criticism. Whether it's your career, personal choices, or even the way you dress, they find ways to undermine your confidence. The criticizer doesn't offer constructive feedback, but rather seeks to diminish your self-worth. Over time, you may begin to internalize their criticisms, leading to self-doubt and insecurity. Their energy is harsh and sharp, cutting into your sense of self and causing you to question your abilities. Next, we have the manipulator. This type of person is perhaps the most subtle of all. They often disguise their manipulative tendencies with charm or friendliness, making it difficult to recognize them for who they truly are. The manipulator drains your energy by making you feel responsible for their needs or desires. They may guilt you into doing things that go against your better judgment, or convince you that their happiness is somehow your responsibility. Over time, you find yourself carrying their emotional baggage, feeling obligated to meet their demands, while your own energy is sapped away. The manipulator's influence is insidious, and before you know it, you've lost track of where your needs end and theirs begin. The fourth type is the victim. This person is always in distress, perpetually trapped in a cycle of misfortune and hardship. While it's natural to want to help someone in need, the victim never seems to want a solution. Instead, they thrive on the attention and sympathy their problems elicit from others. They draw you into their drama, constantly seeking validation for their struggles, but never actually taking steps to improve their situation. Engaging with the victim can be emotionally exhausting, as their constant need for support drains your empathy and leaves you feeling depleted. You may find yourself giving more and more of your emotional energy, but no matter how much you offer, it is never enough to satisfy their unending need for reassurance. The fifth type is the energy vampire. Unlike the others, the energy vampire's negative influence is not always tied to specific behaviors like complaining or manipulation. Instead, it's their overall presence that drains you. You may not even be able to pinpoint what it is about them that leaves you feeling exhausted, but after spending time with them, you feel as though your life force has been sucked away. These individuals often bring chaos wherever they go. Their lives may be filled with drama, and they tend to create problems or conflict in every environment. The energy vampire thrives on stirring up negativity, and simply being around them leaves you feeling emotionally and physically drained. There is the competitive friend. On the surface, this individual may appear supportive, but underneath, they are driven by an unspoken need to outdo you. Their energy is one of rivalry, always seeking to compare their successes with yours. What makes the competitive friend particularly draining is the subtlety of their approach. They might offer compliments or show interest in your achievements, but their underlying intent is to prove that they are better or more successful. This dynamic creates an atmosphere of tension, and instead of feeling supported, you find yourself in a constant state of comparison. Their energy subtly undermines your sense of accomplishment, making you feel as though no matter what you do, it's never quite enough. Each of these types of people can drain your energy in different ways, but what they all have in common is their negative influence on your well-being. Their presence in your life often leads to feelings of exhaustion, frustration, and even resentment. The key to protecting yourself is first recognizing who these individuals are. This requires not only awareness of their behaviors, but also an honest evaluation of how you feel after interacting with them. Do you leave conversations feeling uplifted and inspired, or do you feel drained and depleted? It's also important to understand that not everyone who drains your energy is doing so intentionally. Some people may be unaware of the impact they have on others, while others might be acting out of their own unresolved emotional issues. However, whether intentional or not, the effect on your energy is the same. Once you've identified the people in your life who drain your energy, you can begin the process of setting boundaries and protecting yourself from their influence. By recognizing these 6 types of negative people, you empower yourself to take control of your energy. You are no longer at the mercy of others' behaviors or attitudes. Instead, you become a conscious steward of your own well-being, choosing to engage with individuals who uplift and support you rather than those who drain your vitality. Protecting your energy is not just a luxury, it is a necessity for living a balanced and fulfilling life. When it comes to maintaining your well-being, setting boundaries is essential. Boundaries are not just about keeping negative people at bay, they are about protecting your energy, your peace of mind, and your emotional health. The importance of setting boundaries becomes especially clear when dealing with individuals who drain your energy. Without boundaries, it's easy to find yourself overwhelmed, overextended, and emotionally exhausted, giving more of yourself than you have to offer. Setting boundaries begins with a deep understanding of your own limits. It's about knowing what feels right for you and recognizing when your personal space, be it emotional, mental, or physical, is being encroached upon. Often people hesitate to set boundaries because they fear being perceived as selfish or uncaring. But the truth is, boundaries are an act of self-care. They are necessary for maintaining healthy relationships with others and, more importantly, with yourself. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing the areas of your life where they are most needed. These are often the places where you feel drained or resentful after interacting with certain individuals. Maybe it's a friend who constantly relies on you for emotional support, a family member who expects you to drop everything whenever they need help, or a colleague who doesn't respect your time. These situations all have one thing in common: they are taking more from you than you are willing or able to give. By identifying these areas, you can begin to take control of your energy and decide how much you are willing to invest in each relationship or interaction. Once you've identified the need for boundaries, the next step is learning how to communicate them effectively. This is where many people struggle, because setting boundaries often requires having difficult conversations. It can be uncomfortable to tell someone you need space or that their behavior is affecting you negatively, especially if you care about them. However, it's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about rejecting the person, but about protecting yourself. When you communicate your boundaries, do so with clarity and kindness. Be honest about how you're feeling, but also be firm in your resolve. Let them know what you can and cannot tolerate, and explain why this boundary is necessary for your well-being. For example, if a friend consistently calls you to vent about their problems but never offers support when you need it, you might say something like, "I value our friendship, but I'm feeling overwhelmed by the amount of emotional support I'm providing. I need to take a step back for my own well-being." This approach acknowledges the relationship while still prioritizing your needs. It's about striking a balance between caring for others and caring for yourself. It's also important to understand that setting boundaries is not a one-time event. Boundaries need to be reinforced over time, especially with individuals who are used to taking advantage of your energy. Some people may push back against your boundaries, testing to see if you really mean what you say. In these instances, consistency is key. If you've made it clear that you can't answer work emails after a certain time, for example, but a colleague continues to email you late into the night, it's essential to stand firm in your boundary. Don't respond to those emails, and if necessary, remind them of the boundary you've set. The more consistent you are, the more others will learn to respect your limits. Another critical aspect of setting boundaries is managing your own guilt. Many people struggle with guilt when setting boundaries, especially if they are used to being the one who always says yes or who puts others' needs before their own. You might feel guilty for not being available to help a friend or for saying no to a family member who is used to relying on you. But it's important to remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving without replenishing your own energy, you will eventually burn out. Boundaries are not about being selfish, they are about ensuring that you have the energy and emotional capacity to show up as your best self, not just for others, but for yourself as well. Setting boundaries also involves recognizing when a relationship or situation is no longer serving you. In some cases, despite your best efforts to set and maintain boundaries, certain people may continue to drain your energy. These individuals may be unwilling or unable to respect the limits you've put in place, and their presence in your life continues to be a source of stress and exhaustion. In these cases, it may be necessary to reassess the relationship and determine whether it's worth maintaining. Letting go of toxic relationships can be difficult, but sometimes it's the only way to fully protect your energy and create space for healthier, more supportive connections. It's also worth noting that boundaries aren't just about keeping negativity out, they're also about creating space for positivity to flow in. When you set boundaries, you free up energy that can be used to invest in relationships that uplift and inspire you. You create more time and emotional space for activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. In this way, boundaries are not just a defense mechanism, they are a way of actively shaping the life you want to live, one that is aligned with your values, needs, and aspirations. Boundaries are an essential part of any healthy, fulfilling life. They allow you to protect your energy, maintain your peace of mind, and prioritize your well-being. Without boundaries, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of others, losing sight of your own needs in the process. But with boundaries in place, you can engage with the world from a place of strength and clarity, knowing that you are in control of your energy and how it's spent. By setting and maintaining clear boundaries, you are not only protecting yourself, you are creating the space for a more balanced, harmonious life. As you navigate the complexities of life, you will encounter people who knowingly or unknowingly bring negativity into your personal space. While it is crucial to set boundaries, an equally important aspect of preserving your energy is mastering the art of saying no. This simple word holds immense power in protecting your well-being, yet many of us struggle to use it, often out of fear of disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. However, learning to say no is one of the most liberating and empowering skills you can develop. It is an act of self-care, a way to take control of your life and ensure that your energy is directed toward the things that truly matter. The first challenge with saying no is overcoming the internal resistance. Many of us are conditioned to be people pleasers, believing that saying yes to every request is a sign of kindness and goodwill. While it's natural to want to help others, constantly agreeing to things that drain your energy only leads to burnout. When you say yes to others out of obligation or guilt, you are often saying no to yourself and your own needs. This pattern can quickly deplete your emotional and mental reserves, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and resentful. It's important to understand that you are not responsible for meeting everyone's needs, and saying no does not make you selfish, it makes you a good steward of your energy. Saying no is not about rejecting people or turning away from your responsibilities. It's about making conscious choices about where to invest your time and energy. Every time you say yes to something, you are committing a portion of your energy, your attention, and your resources. If you spread yourself too thin by agreeing to everything, you won't have enough left to give to the things that truly matter: your health, your personal growth, your relationships with those who uplift you. When you say no to things that do not serve you, you are creating space for the things that do. Many people hesitate to say no because they fear conflict or disappointing others. They worry about how their refusal will be perceived and whether it will damage relationships. However, it's important to recognize that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not one-sided obligation. When you set a boundary by saying no, you are being honest about your capacity and your needs. True friends and loved ones will understand and respect your decision, even if it's not what they wanted to hear at the moment. And if someone reacts negatively to your boundary, it's a clear sign that they were more interested in what you could give them than in your well-being. Learning to say no also requires a shift in mindset. You must recognize that your time and energy are valuable, finite resources that should be used wisely. Every decision to say no is an affirmation that you are prioritizing your well-being, your goals, and your personal journey. It's not about rejecting others, but about protecting your inner peace and aligning your actions with your values. You have every right to be selective about where you invest your energy, and saying no is one of the most powerful ways to exercise that right. When saying no, it's important to do so with clarity and confidence. You don't need to over-explain or justify your decision. A simple, polite refusal is enough. For instance, if someone asks you to take on a project that you don't have the time or energy for, you can say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not able to take this on right now." This response is firm, respectful, and leaves no room for negotiation. If the person pushes back or tries to guilt you into changing your mind, remain calm and repeat your boundary. Remember, you are not obligated to make others comfortable at the expense of your own well-being. It's also important to recognize that saying no can be a gift to others as well. When you decline something that you don't have the capacity for, you are giving the person an opportunity to find someone who is truly able and willing to help. By saying yes when you're already stretched thin, you risk doing a disservice to both yourself and the other person. It's better to offer a genuine no than a reluctant yes that leads to half-hearted effort or resentment down the line. Another aspect of saying no is learning to trust your intuition. Often you will feel a sense of discomfort or hesitation when you are about to agree to something that isn't aligned with your energy or goals. Listen to that inner voice. If something doesn't feel right, it's likely because it's not the best use of your time or energy. Trusting yourself enough to say no in these moments is an act of self-respect and self-care. The more you practice saying no, the easier it will become to identify the situations where it's necessary. In your personal and professional life, saying no can be a game changer. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, to invest your energy in the people and projects that align with your purpose, and to maintain your emotional and mental well-being. It frees you from the burden of unnecessary obligations and the resentment that comes with overextending yourself. Most importantly, it empowers you to live in alignment with your values and priorities. As you practice saying no, remember that you are not closing doors, you are simply choosing which doors to walk through. Every no creates space for a more meaningful yes. By protecting your energy and setting clear boundaries, you are affirming that your time and well-being are valuable. You are choosing to live intentionally, with purpose and clarity, rather than being swept along by the demands and expectations of others. Saying no is an essential skill in safeguarding your energy and ensuring that your life remains aligned with your goals and values. It is an act of empowerment, a way to take control of your life and protect your inner peace. By learning to say no confidently and with grace, you are not only preserving your own well-being, but also setting the stage for deeper, more authentic relationships with those who truly respect and support you. When dealing with negative individuals, one of the most important things to understand is that they often thrive on your attention and emotional responses. These people are masters at pulling you into their world of pessimism, drama, or chaos. They might constantly complain, spread gossip, or stir up conflict, and in doing so, they draw you into their negative energy field. This can leave you feeling drained, frustrated, or even anxious. The more attention you give them, the more they continue to feed on it, perpetuating the cycle of negativity. This is why detaching emotionally from negative people is essential. Detachment allows you to maintain your inner peace while still navigating these challenging relationships with clarity and grace. The first step in detaching emotionally from negative people is recognizing that you are not responsible for their emotions or their behavior. Many of us have a natural inclination to want to help others, to fix their problems, or to lift them out of their negativity. However, no matter how much you try, you cannot change another person's mindset unless they are willing to change themselves. By continuously engaging with their negativity, you risk becoming entangled in their emotional state, making it difficult to maintain your own sense of balance and well-being. Emotional detachment is about setting clear boundaries between your emotions and theirs, understanding that while you may care about them, you cannot control or fix their behavior. Detaching emotionally does not mean that you stop caring about the person. It means that you stop allowing their negative energy to control your emotional state. It involves taking a step back and observing their behavior without becoming emotionally invested in it. You can listen to their complaints without taking them on as your own, and you can offer support without getting pulled into their drama. This requires a level of mindfulness and self-awareness. The more you practice this form of detachment, the easier it becomes to maintain your emotional distance, even when confronted with the most draining individuals. One technique that can help in this process is to remain calm and composed during interactions with negative people. Negative individuals often try to provoke emotional responses from those around them, whether consciously or unconsciously. They may push your buttons, make passive-aggressive comments, or try to draw you into arguments. When you react emotionally, you give them the power to control the situation and, by extension, your energy. However, when you remain calm and centered, you take back control. By not reacting to their negativity, you signal that their behavior has no power over you. This can be disarming for the negative person, as they are not getting the reaction they expect or desire. Another aspect of emotional detachment is recognizing when to disengage entirely. There are times when, despite your best efforts, a negative person will continue to push their negativity onto you. In these instances, it's important to know when to walk away, either physically or emotionally. Disengaging doesn't mean abandoning the person or the relationship. It simply means giving yourself the space to protect your energy. This might look like stepping away from a heated conversation, limiting your time with certain individuals, or even mentally disengaging by not allowing their words or actions to affect you. It's about preserving your peace and well-being in the face of negativity. One powerful way to detach emotionally is to practice the art of non-reactivity. This means not allowing yourself to be drawn into the emotional highs and lows that negative people often create. When you interact with someone who is constantly negative, it can be easy to feel responsible for their emotions or to feel compelled to fix the situation. However, non-reactivity allows you to maintain your emotional equilibrium. You can acknowledge their feelings without getting wrapped up in them. For example, if someone is complaining about their life or circumstances, instead of getting emotionally involved, you can respond with neutral statements like, "I understand that you're going through a tough time." Or, "That sounds difficult." This shows empathy without allowing yourself to be emotionally sucked into their negativity. Detaching emotionally also involves letting go of the need for approval or validation from negative people. Often we find ourselves emotionally invested in negative individuals because we are seeking their approval or are trying to prove something to them. However, if a person is chronically negative, no amount of validation or positivity from you will change their outlook. Trying to win their approval will only drain you further. Emotional detachment requires you to release the need for their validation and instead focus on your own sense of self-worth. You must trust that your value does not depend on the approval of others, especially those who are entrenched in negativity. Another key aspect of emotional detachment is understanding that negative people often project their inner turmoil onto others. They may criticize, blame, or attack those around them because they are unable or unwilling to face their own issues. When you recognize that their negativity is not about you, but about their own unresolved emotions, it becomes much easier to detach. Their criticisms lose their sting, and their attempts to drag you into their negativity become less effective. You can respond with compassion for their struggles without taking on their emotional baggage. It's also important to cultivate emotional resilience. Emotional detachment is not about building walls or becoming indifferent to others. It's about developing the strength to maintain your emotional boundaries in the face of negativity. This resilience comes from knowing your worth, trusting your inner guidance, and prioritizing your peace above all else. When you are emotionally resilient, you can interact with negative individuals without losing your sense of self. You can remain grounded and centered, no matter how chaotic the energy around you may be. Detaching emotionally from negative people is an act of self-preservation. It allows you to protect your energy, maintain your emotional well-being, and continue to grow and thrive even in the presence of negativity. By practicing emotional detachment, you can interact with the world from a place of strength and clarity, knowing that your inner peace is within your control, no matter what negativity may come your way. In the pursuit of maintaining your well-being, one crucial yet often overlooked aspect is the necessity of protecting your energy from individuals who may unintentionally or intentionally drain it. These are the people who, despite their intentions, leave you feeling depleted after your interactions. To safeguard yourself and ensure that you can remain energized and positive, it is essential to learn to strategically limit your interactions with these individuals. The first step in managing interactions with energy-draining individuals is to recognize the signs that your energy is being depleted. This can manifest in various ways, including feelings of exhaustion, anxiety, or a lingering sense of negativity after spending time with someone. It's important to be aware of these signals and to understand that they are indicators of an unhealthy dynamic. Once you identify these patterns, you can take proactive steps to address them. One effective strategy for managing interactions is to set specific limits on how much time you spend with energy-draining individuals. You might decide to allocate only a certain amount of time each week for interactions with them, or to engage in these interactions only in specific contexts that are less draining. For example, if a colleague consistently brings negativity into the workplace, you might choose to limit conversations with them to professional topics or to keep interactions brief and focused. By setting these boundaries, you create a buffer that helps protect your energy while still maintaining a level of interaction that is necessary for professional or social obligations. Another important aspect of managing interactions is being selective about the types of engagements you participate in. For instance, if you find that attending social gatherings with certain individuals leaves you feeling drained, consider opting out of these events or finding ways to minimize your participation. You might choose to attend only part of the event or to engage in activities that allow you to manage your energy more effectively. By making conscious decisions about the social engagements you participate in, you can protect your energy while still fulfilling necessary social or professional commitments. Effective communication is also key in managing your interactions with energy-draining individuals. It's important to express your needs and boundaries clearly and assertively. For example, if a friend tends to call you late at night with problems that you feel unprepared to handle, you can communicate that you need to limit these late-night conversations for the sake of your own well-being. This type of communication not only helps to establish clear boundaries, but also sets expectations for future interactions. It's about finding a balance between maintaining your relationships and protecting your own energy. When you are faced with ongoing interactions that feel draining, it's also helpful to develop a routine or practices that help you recharge and maintain your own energy. This could include engaging in activities that rejuvenate you, such as exercise, meditation, or spending time with positive, supportive individuals. By incorporating these practices into your routine, you create a reservoir of positive energy that can help counterbalance the effects of your interactions with energy-draining individuals. This approach ensures that you remain resilient and maintain a positive outlook, even when faced with challenging interactions. It's valuable to assess the overall impact of these relationships on your life. Sometimes, despite our best efforts to manage interactions, certain individuals may have a more significant impact on our well-being than we initially realized. In such cases, it may be necessary to reconsider the role these relationships play in your life. If an individual's negativity consistently undermines your well-being and your efforts to manage interactions have not yielded positive results, it might be time to evaluate whether it is beneficial to continue the relationship in its current form. This doesn't mean cutting people off abruptly, but rather making a conscious decision about the level of interaction that aligns with your own well-being. Building a support network of positive and uplifting individuals is also an effective way to counterbalance the effects of energy-draining interactions. Surrounding yourself with people who bring positivity and support into your life helps to reinforce your sense of well-being and provides a buffer against the negativity of others. By investing in relationships that nurture and uplift you, you create a strong foundation that helps you manage and mitigate the impact of interactions with those who may be less positive. It's also important to practice self-care and self-compassion as you navigate these interactions. Recognize that it is natural to feel affected by negative people and that your feelings are valid. Taking time for yourself, engaging in activities that bring you joy, and practicing self-compassion can help you maintain a healthy emotional balance and build resilience against the impact of energy-draining individuals. Managing interactions with energy-draining individuals requires a thoughtful and strategic approach. By setting clear limits, being selective about engagements, communicating effectively, and building a supportive network, you can protect your energy and maintain your well-being. It's about creating a healthy balance that allows you to engage with others while also preserving your own sense of peace and positivity. By implementing these strategies, you empower yourself to navigate relationships in a way that aligns with your values and enhances your overall quality of life. As we bring this discussion to a close, it's clear that maintaining our well-being in the face of negativity and energy-draining individuals requires deliberate effort and conscious choices. By understanding and applying the strategies we've discussed, you can navigate these challenging interactions with greater ease and preserve your inner peace. We began by acknowledging the importance of recognizing negative influences in our lives and the need to set boundaries. This involves not only understanding when and how to say no, but also recognizing the power of emotional detachment to protect your energy. By remaining calm, setting clear limits, and choosing your engagements wisely, you create a buffer that helps you maintain your well-being. We also explored the significance of saying no with confidence and grace. It's essential to remember that saying no is not an act of selfishness, but a necessary step in prioritizing your own needs and energy. It empowers you to focus on what truly matters and to invest your time and resources where they will be most beneficial. Detaching emotionally from negative individuals allows you to preserve your inner peace and maintain clarity in your interactions. By understanding that you are not responsible for others' emotions and by practicing non-reactivity, you can navigate these relationships without compromising your own well-being. Managing your interactions with energy-draining individuals requires strategic planning. Setting boundaries, being selective about engagements, and building a supportive network are all essential in protecting your energy. It's about creating a harmonious balance that allows you to interact with others while maintaining your sense of self and well-being. Protecting your energy is not merely about avoiding negative people, but about cultivating a lifestyle that supports your growth, happiness, and peace. By implementing these strategies, you are taking a proactive approach to ensure that your interactions enhance rather than deplete your energy. You have the power to shape your environment and to choose relationships that uplift and support you. Embrace these practices, trust in your ability to create a positive and balanced life, and move forward with confidence and clarity. Thank you.